Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Oner podcast, the podcast where we break down and review films all in one big, long, unbroken take. I am Cramer England and I am alone today. Austin is working. I was on vacation. We've kind of had a little downtime, so we're doing something a little bit different. And actually, this won't be one big, long, unbroken take. My take will be but I actually I'm gonna review the Mario Galaxy movie on my own. No, I went to see this with my family. I was on vacation. It was a lot of fun. I got to see it with my kids, my whole family, and my brother's whole family. So that was a lot of fun. But I'm actually I'm gonna bring them on and see what they thought of the movie. So hopefully you like it. If you don't want to listen, this you can watch this part, and then I'll do the my kids review at the end. They're 12, 10, 8, and 6. So it'll be interesting to see what they think. But here's my thoughts on the film. First of all, this is going to be spoiler filled. I've actually already interviewed my kids and they talked about the spoilers. So spoiler warning right now for the Mario Galaxy movie. If you don't want to have it spoiled, then you can not watch this. But first of all, here are my overall thoughts on the film. It's really kind of all over the place. I did not love this movie. Now, to be fair, I did not love the first movie. I thought that it kind of had some, it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. But it just kind of lacked something that I couldn't really put my finger on. This one I can put my finger on a lot more. But first of all, I will talk the saving grace of this movie. The animation in this movie is absolutely beautiful. There are these great sequences where they're big oneers, and they're running around and they're being chased by a dinosaur. The Yoshi scene, he's Mario and Luigi have been made, turned into little babies, baby Mario and baby Luigi, and he's got to get this gun to turn him back, but he can't do it because he's being chased by a dinosaur. Really, really fun sequence. I loved it. It looked amazing. And the whole movie just looked beautiful. There's bright colors, and it all fits really well for this story because Mario is such a big, expansive world. It can be really great to have all those colors. And they really, really do well with the animation. Like just absolutely stunning. So it has it going for it. And my son pointed this out, which you'll see later, that there's never a part in this movie where I was bored. There's always something to look at. There's always something that's, usually pretty fun about the movie. I think a lot of kids are really going to like it. Two of my kids really liked it. My other two, not as much, but they still enjoyed themselves. I think that if you want to take your kids, definitely bring your kids to the movie theater. It's so much fun being at the theater, and even my kids, they really enjoyed being at the theater, and they like seeing it on the big screen. There's something about it being in a movie theater, especially with your family. If you're with your friends or your cousins, as my kids were, it just makes it more fun to experience that movie. So you're going to have a good time at this movie. Just have your expectations low because the story in this movie is all over the place. There really is not much of a protagonist in this movie. I thought it was going to be Peach's movie. It turned out not to really be Peach's movie. I thought it might be Mario's movie at one point, and it turned out not to be Mario's movie. Thought it was going to be Bowser and Bowser Jr.'s story. It really wasn't their story. It's just kind of like a collection of interesting sequences that don't make up an interesting whole. It just isn't really connected. The movie starts out and we get to see Rosalina, voiced by Brie Larson, and the stars are pretty cute. And I thought this movie was going to be funnier, but the stars, they're a little crazy, they're a little wacky, but they didn't really do much. They didn't really have a lot of funny lines. So they're kind of being told the story of Peach, and then Rosalina is telling them, and she knows it, and they love the story. And then Bowser Jr. shows up in the thing in his big machine, and he really fun sequence, really cool sequence where he tries to take her and she saves the stars. And anyway, she gets caught with one other star. She gets taken away. The next sequence, it goes into, it's actually, I think the next sequence is Mario and Luigi, and they go and find Yoshi. I love Yoshi. Yoshi's my Yoshi. I love Yoshi. great. He's always been my favorite. I always play him in Mario Kart. He's just my favorite. But he was really. They go and they find him. If you've played Mario Odyssey, it's in that land. The pyramids and all that. Again, very beautiful, very stunning. The characters in that scene looked really great. But they go and they just find Yoshi, and he's there. And they have like a funny sequence where he tells the story and they don't even understand what he said. Really funny. But he's just there, and then he's there for the rest of the movie. I was really hoping that he would have much more of of an integral part in the story. I thought that he was going to be, Rosalina and Peach's pet or something, and he would have to do something that would save them. Or even if he wasn't that, but he had to do something to save the day, that would even be better. But he's just there. He's just another character, as if he just showed up. So one of the biggest things about this movie that I was going to say, it seems like they knew. I really wonder if they made the first one, and I have to look into this more. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I feel like they made the first one, and while they were making the first one, they started on the second one. Because I mean, it really wasn't that long ago that the movie, that the first Mario came out. Like, and animation takes a long time. So I don't know if they just were like, okay, we're gonna have a scene here, 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 and here, and we're gonna have the scenes be this. Um, but it ultimately, so they were almost just like filling in the blanks. And but they didn't really have much of a story. That's really, um let me see when it came out, because I like, okay, let's see, the Mario, oops, 2022, is that when it was? Did it come out 2020, 2023? Okay, it came out in 2023. Yeah, 2023. So really 3 years ago. That's pretty quick turnaround for animation. And you know what? I could be totally wrong. But it felt like the other movie just came out. So I'm really wondering if they were just like, we need to just get a story going so that we can get this out as quickly as possible. And they just kind of came up with the scenes and didn't really have much of a story, because it just felt very disjointed. It felt like, hey, this would be a cool sequence and this would be a cool scene. So how do we get them there? And how do we do this? Rather than like having a really, original story that, and an organic story that kind of flows together. This was just, like I said, a bunch of different sequences. So we see that where they find Yoshi, they go and they find Peaches, and I thought it was going to be about Mario, because they're like, oh, you like Peaches, don't you? And he's like, no, she's just a friend. And then that really never goes anywhere, really. But he does have a thing for her. He gives her an umbrella, and she has her own umbrella, and she starts talking about, oh, I don't really know where I came from, and like, I just kind of showed up here, and because it's not my birthday, this isn't my birthday, this is just when they found me, because I don't know what happened to me before all of this. So I was like, oh, okay, it's going to be about Peaches figuring out who she is. Um, and then like the star that was with Rosalina, it escapes and it goes and it comes to Peaches. It finds Peaches and she's like, I need your help. And then she leaves without telling anybody. Her and Toad leave and they go, they get blasted out in outer space and they go on their journey. And then Mario and Luigi are like, oh, she's gone, we've got to save the kingdom. And then they do this little sequence where they're like, it looks like one of the Mario games, and they're saving a bunch of people. Um, and then like from there, there's a bunch of other sequences that I probably won't get into, because I really honestly can't really remember the order of everything. Uh, the Peaches and Toad get their backpack stolen, and they see the actual Toad. Let me see what his name was again. Wart, voiced by Luis Guzman, who is really funny, but he's only in the movie for just a tiny bit. And like, he tells Bowser about it, and Bowser Jr. is really looking for his father, and Mario and Luigi, he's still small, and they don't think he's changed, but Luigi thinks he's changed. And that whole storyline, they go on their journey to go and find Peaches, and then Mario ends up hitting Bowser, and he gets back to big size, and it seems like he's changed, like he's turned a new leaf. You think he's gonna like tear apart Mario, but he gives him a kiss and he's like, thank you, I really have changed. And then later on in the movie, Bowser Jr. is trying to kill them, and he's like, no, I actually really kind of like these guys. I think we should keep them." And so Bowser Jr.'s like, "Oh, okay," and he like doesn't kill him, and but then Bowser ends up being bad anyway. He kind of like just decides to be bad, and I just I thought it might be about him, maybe really being good and turning around, but that never really happened. He just kind of, helps his son because his son wants to reconnect with him, and he built this like doomsday planet that they're going to take over the galaxy with, and he's like, "Oh, that's so great," and then he becomes bad, but it just didn't flow naturally. I didn't feel like that was even earned. It was really strange. And they didn't have a song. They didn't have another Peaches song, which some people are probably really happy about. I thought they should have done something. Maybe not though. Honestly, they probably couldn't have topped the original Peaches song. So they didn't really have that. But they, at one point, Star Fox shows up, and if you are a kid from the '90s like me, I mean, man, Star Fox is still one of the most fun games that I played on Nintendo 64. I mean, it was just a fun ride. You do the barrel rolls, you keep barrel rolling, and he does some barrel rolls, and you do the thing where he turns around, and so Glenn Powell is Fox McCloud. He's Star Fox, and he comes in for a little bit, and he has kind of a backstory. So apparently, they're going to be doing more of the Nintendo characters, which I think Star Fox is a good one. And honestly, I hope they give it a little bit more time and make something, because Star Fox could be really cool. I think it could be a really fun adventure movie for the whole family, and you could make some really funny characters out of it. I think you could do some really, really great stuff. And he was a funny character. He didn't really do much, but the sequences again were really fun. They have to fly somewhere, and he flies them there, and he wasn't really that integral to the story besides getting them there, which was important. Um, but anyway, I look forward to a Star Fox movie. I think that would be great. But he doesn't do much other than kind of get them to where they need to go. And then they get turned into that's what it was. The Bowser Jr. makes them into babies. He doesn't kill them, he makes them into babies, and Yoshi has to save them. They're trying to find the gun to get him back, and Toad is with him, and Toad is trying to do it, and then they come on the T-Rex from Mario Odyssey, and they end up waking him up in this really great sequence, really fun sequence where they're running away from him. Toad accidentally turns himself into a baby, so Yoshi has to have the three babies, and he ends up turning the T-Rex into a baby, and then he turns them back. He turns them all back, but besides the T-Rex. A really, really fun sequence. Really cool. The way that they filmed it, just awesome. Again, the animation was just so good. Like, it was so fun to watch. So I really loved that. And if that's all you care about, then you should for sure see this movie, specifically for the animation. So they do that. They get all turned back, and then they somehow meet up. Um, there's a really cool sequence before this with Toad and Peaches, and she's like running on the ceiling. That was really cool. Again, I can't remember exactly why it was all going down, but that was a fun sequence. They all meet up on this like doomsday planet, and Mario and Peaches end up having to like play the dungeon, like Bowser's dungeon from, it was either from the first Mario Brothers movie or whatever. Like, you see the screen, you see him Bowser Jr. doing that. It's almost like he's playing the game. But that sequence was awesome because they got to run and they got to jump and they got to go through all the different fire things, the fire rope things that kind of spin around, and they've got to jump around. Really fun sequence to watch. Really cool that they made it all work. And then they kind of meet up all together on the top of the castle, and Luigi and Yoshi show up with a bunch of the question mark boxes, and they hit a couple of them, but I felt like they could have done something really, really cool with this whole sequence, but they really only do like two or three. And maybe I'm misremembering, but I just thought like, oh, the sequence could have been so much cooler. But Bowser Jr. has this paintbrush that he can kind of make anything with. And he makes this giant dragon. Oh, I'm sorry. At one point, Bowser falls into the lava and he becomes like Dry Bones Bowser. And that was cool, but they didn't use him all that much. But Bowser Jr. has the paintbrush and can make anything. He makes this huge dragon, which again looked awesome. But then it just like turns on him and it eats Bowser Jr. And then they kind of have to run away from him. And then Mario decides like, oh, he saves Bowser Jr. Kind of jumps through the dragon and saves Bowser Jr. And then it kind of goes away and they get the paintbrush and everything is good. And Mario and Peaches, like, they kind of hold hands, but there's not really much that goes on there. And Rosalina and sorry, Peaches realizes that Rosalina is her long lost sister, and her sister had to save her from, I can't remember who it is, but she had to save her from someone. And but they can pretty much, if they're together, they can pretty much create whatever they want. They're very powerful. So she, in order to save her sister, she had to send her to the Mushroom Kingdom, um, and that's kind of told pretty quickly. And then like Rosalina and Peaches, Rosalina's power is being used to charge this Doomsday Planet, her power, and so Peaches goes and saves her, and they can get close enough through the glass that they're able to break the device, and the planet becomes this beautiful planet, and they save each other. But that's all the interaction that they have, Peaches and Rosalina. They're kind of like, oh yeah, I remember you, and like they remember everything. So there's not much of a journey for Peaches. It's just like that's a bit at the beginning, and then they have a little part in the middle, and then she's saved. And Mario and Luigi are really taking a back seat because they're just almost there as MacGuffins to keep things going. And they kind of like they don't really have much of their own story. They don't really even have an arc. Like I guess you could say that Mario kind of having feelings for Peaches is something, but it's not really even a much of a Mario movie, but it's not much of an anybody movie. So whatever. But you can definitely tell that the story in this is super thin. So they all get saved. Bowser and Bowser Jr. are in jail and they're trying to escape. And then the star from the first movie that was a kid voice that's like, oh, I'm going to make your life horrible. And like, it says some funny stuff. It was pretty funny. And then there's a post credit scene with Daisy who comes in. So that might be fun too. I don't know. I played Mario movies, or sorry, I played Mario games a lot, but I don't know all the lore. I've seen Daisy before, but mainly in Mario Kart. And my kids have played it a lot. There's a lot of really fun Mario games. I know that there's a ton of lore, but I would really like to see in the next movie. I thought the end was going to have Wario and Waluigi. I'd like to see them in the next movie. King Boo in the next movie. I can't remember. He might have been the one that was trying to get Rosalina and Peaches, but I don't remember. I'm sorry. If that is the case, let me know down in the comments. But overall, that's kind of the movie. You're gonna get. I don't. They're not really. I don't think anyone was expecting a lot from this, so it's really getting kind of like middling reviews. It's kind of like I think people are, this is what you're going to get with a Mario movie, so it's going to be fun. If that's what you want, that's awesome. I think you're going to really like it. If you really want a story, you're not going to find much of it there. It's just a bunch of sequences that happen to be together. So, but a lot of kids are going to love it. It's going to be fun to look at. You're never going to be bored. But it's not a Pixar movie where you're going to, feel uplifted and it's going to have a good story and going to have an interesting story. This is just kind of a fun time. It's kind of a fun adventure. So if that's what you're looking for, then it'll be right up your alley. Here's the thing. This movie was directed. The first one was also directed by these two, but this one was directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelinek, I believe is how you say their name. I could be saying that wrong. They did Teen Titans Go. I love Teen Titans Go. I think it's hilarious. I was hoping for a little more comedy in this movie. I didn't. It wasn't really as funny as I thought. But again, I'm kind of thinking like they just had a really quick turnaround. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But maybe this is the movie that they wanted to make. But I felt like they could have pushed this. I feel like maybe they should take a little bit more time, on this next one and kind of up the comedy and up the story. And if we have a good story, excuse me, if we have a good story, and if we have some good comedy, I think it's going to be a great movie if they can do that. So, but that's what you're going to see. I'm going to get into scores now. I did score this movie. I'm going to go through these pretty quick. If you're new to this, we score the movies with 5 different categories. We have technical achievement, or kind of our objective score, and just how well they made the movie, trying to be as objective as possible. We score the ending, we score the rewatchability, we score the cultural impact, and then our subjective score. Because sometimes you have this amazing movie that objectively is probably good, but for some reason you don't really like it, or vice versa. Objectively, it maybe not be a good movie, but for some reason you just love the movie. That's why we have those 2 different scores at the beginning and the end. So my technical achievement on this is a 6.5. The story is kind of a mess. As I just said, it's a real big mess. But the animation is absolutely beautiful. So the majority of this score is for the animation. It looks so good. And they did a great job making Mario feel very colorful and very fun, because that's what the video game is. And they did an awesome job on that. So good for them for doing that. The ending, I gave it a 5. I just don't It wasn't horrible, it wasn't great, it's just right there in the middle. It did wrap up the story, but none of it felt particularly earned. But it was fine. Rewatchability, I'm giving a 6. Again, it's really good colors, really fun sequences. Watching the whole thing is not as appealing as maybe watching the individual sequences for various things, but so I gave it a 6 for that. Cultural impact, I'm giving it a 7. Maybe I should bump it up because it is making a lot of money. I mean, this is a family movie that everybody can see and enjoy together. So that's always a big market. And I mean, it's a half decent movie. So it's definitely not the worst animated movie I've ever seen, but it is having an impact. We'll see how it does long term. I think it's still going to make a ton of money. So if you love it and your kids love it, then that's great. My subjective score is a 6. And again, this is much more for the animation. It's really bumping it up. But I think that's kind of what they're going for. So, you know, if that's what you want, you're going to get what you want. If you want something more, kind of like I do, I really like story and I like some creativity. I like everything to mesh and come together and have a purpose and be paid off, set up and paid off. This didn't really have that, but it still was a fun watch. I mean, the animation is beautiful. The sequences, I was never bored, as I've said a few times, and as my son says, like I was never bored. So you know, you could definitely see this movie in the theater. I think it's always better to see the movies in the theaters. I think you should do that. I think it's a lot of fun. That's my take on it. Me and Austin, we're still not exactly sure what we're going to do next. So I'm sorry that I don't have an answer for you. There's a few different possibilities. We might see the drama.
Sorry for the interruption and for the bad audio quality, but we are going to see the drama for our next episode.
That is my take on the movie. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And let me know what you think of my kids review. If you have kids that are my kids' age, I think they're going to all pretty much be the same. But you can kind of have a good age between 12 and 6, what these kids are thinking of the movie. So let me know what you think about that. But I'm going to send it off to my kids. And here, so I'll turn it over to me interviewing them. So I'll have them take it away. I'm here with my youngest daughter. What is your name and how old are you?
Isla and 6.
My name is Emma and I'm 8 years old.
I'm Harrison and I'm 10 years old.
I'm Nolan and I'm 12.
Tell me what this movie was about.
It was like about
It was about like Peach finding her sister Rosalina.
Bowser Jr. wants to like take their power and like power the Doomsday device so they can destroy and take over the universe.
Rosalina was Peach's sister, and how like Bowser Jr. was trying to save his dad, and they were trying to power their planet or something.
it was about Mario.
Do you think Mario was a big part of the movie?
No, not really.
He was like half the main character, but he wasn't at the same time. Peach was kind of the main one. Mario was just like one of the protagonists, I would say.
He just wants to help Peach, I guess. Like, yeah.
Do you think they should have had another song like the Peaches song?
Yes, definitely. There was like barely any songs. There was like one.
Definitely yes.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Was Bowser as funny in this one as he was in the first one?
Kind of.
Who was your favorite character and why?
Yoshi, because he was like really funny and I liked that.
Yoshi! Yoshi!
Yoshi.
Hey, that's good.
It's probably that like little star.
From the first movie, that's a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Yoshi.
I like Yoshi too.
I feel like everyone does.
Do you think people should see this in the theater?
I think seeing movies in the theater are really fun because usually I get to see it with like friends and like cousins.
I personally wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, they can wait for like it to come on Netflix, Disney Plus, or whatever.
I mean, why not? Everything in a movie theater just makes a movie better in general. Like, I don't think there's any movies that you can watch that won't be good in theaters.
I agree with that. Wise statement from a 12-year-old. Do you have fun seeing it in the theater?
Yeah.
It's always fun to get treats, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite movie snack?
Popcorn. Popcorn's really good. But I say Sour Patch Watermelon.
Trolleys.
Those are good ones. Do you like popcorn?
No, not really.
I still don't know why you don't like popcorn. Do you think you like the first one better or this new one better?
New one.
First one.
First one.
What would you rate this movie out of 10?
9 out of 10.
You liked it that much?
Probably a 9.8.
If this was a 9.8, what is like your 10 movie?
I would say this one.
This is your favorite movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Probably a 6.7.
I would have to give it a 6. I was never bored in that movie, but the storyline just wasn't great.
Okay. That was my kids' review. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you like my review. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think of the movie in the comments. Did we get anything wrong? Did you love the movie? Did you not love the movie? Let us know your thoughts. We will respond to you. Let's have a conversation about it. I love talking to everybody, what their thoughts were on the film, or if they're interested or if they're not interested in it. Some people might not be, which is totally fine. This is definitely a kids movie that adults can enjoy. But let us know what you thought. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We'd love to get more subscribers in here. We're trying really hard. We really love doing this, and we really appreciate all of you subscribing and watching our content. We really appreciate it. It's been a really fun time, so we're going to keep doing it. Hopefully you enjoy it. Let us know if you have any suggestions for movies. Let us know. Can't promise that we'll do it, but we're always looking for downtime. When we have downtime, when there's not a big movie, we'd like to know what you'd like us to see. So anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next one.